Yeah, because the information's there in papal writings, the catechism, you can find the information.
Sure.
But people don't want to read it for themselves. But then no, because the workforce of the church, so like the priests, the lay leaders, the parishioners, we're getting better, but we don't do a good job. We can do such a better job of, I think the delinquency that we're having here is that we're using language, but we're not using precise enough language. So, for instance, like let's break that down for just a second. Yeah. For instance, like with the contraception issue, you can tell someone, well, the church doesn't approve of contraception, and then they're gonna tell you to buzz off and get out of my face. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But if you really sit down with someone and like, hey, let's have a conversation about this and let's talk about what does the church actually teach on contraception. Talk about the purpose of intercourse in the first place. There's this unitive and procreative purpose of intercourse, okay? And if you remove one of them, the purpose, like the end, as Thomas Aquinas would talk about it, the end isn't there. And so, but then talk about the definition of marital love. And so, one of the big things that my wife and I, in terms of ministry work, one of the big things we're into is teaching about the teaching on contraception. So I mean, I can go on for hours and hours on this, but things I would like to break down about this is the definition of marital love. I think this is so important, and the church does a good job of communicating it only if you know how to find it. And so marital love has to be life-giving. It's got to be permanent. It's got to be a self-gift. It's got to be based on knowledge, and it's got to be a choice. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you take all 5 of those definitions and let's say that you remove one. Let's say that you remove self-gift from that list of 5 to make those 5 create marital love, and you remove self-gift. What do you have? What you have is rape. Like, I'm not giving you myself, you're taking it.
Yeah.
And so if you can break down the church definition of marital love, talk about like based on knowledge, take based on knowledge out. If you take that out of the definition of marital love, what you have is pedophilia. And I don't mean to be like gross and controversial here, but that's what it is. Like kids don't understand. And so based on knowledge, if you remove that, and what that means that you're putting someone in there that doesn't have the knowledge about what intercourse is in the first place, that's pedophilia. And so if you sit down and you break this down, I think that there's a way to communicate this. Talk about what makes love so great. One of my favorites, I've been studying him so much recently, I always go back to him, but Thomas Aquinas, he has this great definition of love, and it's in his Summa. And what he says is, love is willing the good of another. And I think that that's such a great point because love is not about me, Josh. Love is not about you. It's about like you love your wife. What are you going to do to will the good for your wife?
Yeah. I love that definition.
Me too.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for checking out this clip from the Practical Theism Podcast. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to check out the full episode, you can do so by finding it on our YouTube channel. Definitely consider subscribing and ringing that little bell so you can continue to get updates and notifications when we release new episodes and new clips just like this one. I hope to see you soon.